Hello students. So this next session of mycology is the reproduction in fungi. So today we shall discuss the fungal reproduction. This is Rekha from Government Science College, Bangalore. Fungi reproduces by all the three methods, namely vegetative reproduction, asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. In lower fungi, the entire thallus, that is, the entire vegetative body, is used up for the formation of reproductive structures. Hence, they are called as holocarpic. Holo, the entire vegetative mycelium or the hyphae is used up for the formation of reproductive structure. Whereas in higher fungi, only a portion of the thallus is used up for the formation of reproductive structures. These fungi are called as eucarpic. So fungi reproduces by all the three methods: vegetative, asexual and sexual. So coming to the different types of vegetative reproduction, these are fragmentation, fission, budding, oidea, Clamidospores, Rhizomorphs and Sliroshia. So coming to the asexual reproduction, these are Sporangio Spores or Plano spores, zoospores and conidia. Sexual reproduction takes place by 5 different methods, namely Plano Gametic copulation, gametangial contact, gametangial copulation, spermatization and somatogamy. So first coming to the vegetative reproduction. The first one is fragmentation. In many true fungi, the vegetative plant body breaks up into one or more fragments, and each fragment or piece germinates into a new individual under favorable conditions. Second one is fission. This is the most commonest and the simplest method of vegetative increase in number, especially in yeasts. So, this involves the splitting of the cell into two daughter cells by simple constriction or transverse wall. Third one is budding. In yeasts, that is in Saccharomyces, the parent cell, it pinches off or it buds off new cells which gets separated from the parent cell at a certain stage, and it develops into new individuals. So these buds, when it is still attached to the parent cell, again it may give rise to another bud. Like this, a successive buds are formed, and this chains of buds looks like a mycelium, hence it is called as pseudo mycelium. Pseudo means false. It gives an appearance, false appearance of the mycelium. Next one is oidea. Oidea means the hyphae break up into numerous small rounded or oval segments called oidea. Singular is oidium. Each oidium behaves as an accessory spore and germinates to form a new individual under favorable conditions. And these oidea, they are also called as orthospores. Next one is Clamidospores. Clamidospores are seen in certain cells of the hyphae. So these are formed either singly or in chains, and they develop thick resistant walls, and they accumulate plenty of food material and help the fungus to tide over unfavorable conditions. With the return of the favorable conditions, each chlamydospore, it develops into a new mycelium. Example is mucar, fusarium, etc. Next one is rhizomorph. Rhizomorph, the name itself tells you, rhizo means root, morph means morphologically, externally. Externally, these are the root-like structures or rope-like structures, which are nothing but a number of hyphae which are interwoven with one another, and it becomes a rope-like structure which is dark brown in color, and they are called as rhizomorphs. So during favorable conditions, they germinate or they resume growth and they give rise to fruiting bodies. Next one is Sliroshia. Sliroshia is seen in a particular fungi, namely the claviceps. In claviceps, the hyphae become interwoven to form a compact mass, and it gets surrounded by a hard covering or the rind. Such structures are called as Sliroshia. They remain dormant under unfavorable conditions, and with the return of favorable conditions, it germinates into a new mycelia. So this is about the vegetative reproduction. So coming to the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction takes place by different kinds of spores. The spores are the most common types of reproductive units. They are usually unicellular asexual spores that are formed variously from the parent plant. So these are, first one is the Sporangio spores, or it is also called as Plano spores. These are produced endogenously in a special sac-like structure called sporangium. The sporangium are born on a specialized hyphae which is called as sporangiophore. So the Sporangio spores, they are also called as Planospores because they are non-motile and they are bounded, they are covered by a cell wall. Example is Rhizopus, Mucar, etc. Second one is the zoospores. Zoo means motile. These are the spores which are produced in the lower fungi inside a special sporangia which is called as zoosporangia. So they bear, because due to their motility, they have certain structures which are called as the flagella. So with the help of the flagella, they can move from one place to another place. Example is albigo. Third one is conidia. These are non-motile asexual spores which are produced exogenously at the tips or the ends of specialized hyphae which are called as the conidiophores. Conidia may be produced singly. Example is Pythium, or in chains. Example is Aspergillus, Penicillium, etc. Next one is sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction in fungi is called as the perfect state or the perfect stage. Sexual reproduction involves the fusion of two compatible sex cells or gametes of opposite strains. Fungal sex organs are called as gametangia. Sexual reproduction involves the three important phases which occurs in sequence, namely the plasmogamy, karyogamy and meiosis. So what are the different methods of sexual reproduction? There are 5 different types of sexual reproduction. First one is Plano-gametic copulation. Plano-gametic copulation, it involves the fusion of two gametes. The sexual union, it may be isogamous, anisogamous and the oogamous. In isogamous, the gametes which comes in contact with one another or which fuse with one another, they are morphologically similar. Example is Olpidium and Catenaria. In anisogamy, The fusing gametes are morphologically similar but they differ in size. Example is allomyces. In oogamy, it is the most advanced type of reproduction. Gametes are produced inside the gametangia. The male gametangium is smaller in size and motile, which is called as the antheridium, and the female gametangium is larger in size and called as the oogonium. Example, pythium and albigo. Second one is the gametangial contact. Here, the male and the female gametangia, they come in contact with each other. The male nucleus from the male gametangium, that is the antheridium, they are directly transferred into the female gametangium or the oogonium either through a pore formed in the common wall at the point of contact or through one or more fertilization tubes that arises from the antheridium. So fertilization then takes place by the fusion of male nucleus with the egg inside the oogonium. After the fertilization, both the gametangia, that is antheridium and oogonium, or only the male gametangium, that is the antheridium, may eventually disappear or collapse. The third one is gametangial copulation. So here the sexual fusion occurs between the entire contents of the two gametangia in any one of the following two ways. In the first type, the gametangia make contact and the entire contents of the two fuse together and they become one. Example is mucar and rhizopus. In the second type, the entire protoplast of one gametangia flows into the other through a pore, and among the two, the recipient is the female and the donor is the male. Next, fourth one is spermatization. In some higher fungi, numerous uninucleate, unicellular, non-motile male cells called spermatia are born externally in various ways on the spermatiophores. These spermatia are carried by wind, water, or even insects to the female gametangia to the specialized receptive hyphae. So a pore is developed at the point of contact and the contents of the spermatium are transferred into the receptive structures resulting in the formation of a dikaryotic cell. Next, fifth one is somatogamy. In higher fungi like ascomycetes and basidiomycetes, there is a progressive degeneration of sexuality. The fusion takes place between two mycelia of the opposite strings. The post-fertilization changes result in a fruiting body which is called as ascocarp in ascomycetes and basidiocarp in basidiomycetes. So coming to the conclusion or the summary of the reproduction in fungi. So reproduction is the biological process by which new offspring are produced from their parents. Vegetative reproduction involves the somatic portion of the fungal thallus where the new individuals are formed. And asexual spores are genetically identical to the parent and may be released either outside or within a specialized reproductive sac called the sporangium. Adverse environmental conditions results in the sexual reproduction in fungi. So mycelium can either be homothallic or heterothallic when reproducing sexually. Thank you.